In the beginning there was a divine plan, a story that transcends time and speaks to the very core of our existence. The story of the flood, a tale as old as time itself, resonates with the echoes of humanity's triumphs and follies. Today, we explore the profound insights from the biblical flood narrative, each illuminated by Scripture. The deluge, as recounted in the book of Genesis, wasn't just a random act of destruction. Genesis 6:17 tells us that God instructed Noah to bring into the ark two of all living creatures, male and female, to keep their seed alive upon the face of all the earth. Why would the creatures of the sea, those who navigate the very element of the flood itself, be excluded from this divine ark of safety? As the heavens opened and the rains poured down, the ark became a beacon of hope, a testament to God's mercy. Genesis 6:19 tells us, Noah brought two of every living thing into the ark. Land animals from lions to sheep found refuge within the ark. Birds with their vibrant plumage were also gathered. This act of preservation speaks volumes about the sanctity of life. Even within the ark, where survival was the priority, distinctions were made. Genesis 7:2 tells us that Noah was instructed to take of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female. The clean animals, those deemed acceptable offerings to God, were given preferential treatment, a greater number allowed within the ark's confines. This distinction, predating the Mosaic law, suggests an innate human understanding of the need for atonement, for a way to approach the divine with reverence and humility. As the floodwaters receded and the ark found its resting place on Mount Ararat, a profound act of worship unfolded. Genesis 8:20 tells us that Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. The smoke rising from the altar carried with it the hopes, fears, and gratitude of a world reborn. The act of sacrifice acknowledges our dependence on something greater than ourselves. The biblical flood narrative isn't just a story of natural disaster, it's intertwined with tales of beings both wondrous and terrifying, the Nephilim. Genesis 6:4 describes them as the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. These sons of God, often interpreted as fallen angels or divine beings, intermingled with humanity, their offspring a race of giants who roamed the earth. The Nephilim, in their very existence, represented a perversion of the natural order, a violation of the boundaries set by God. The decision to unleash the flood wasn't taken lightly. Genesis 6:6 tells us that it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. The decision to cleanse the earth wasn't an act of blind rage, but a heart-wrenching choice born out of love and a desire for a fresh start. This act of divine sorrow reminds us that God is not indifferent to our actions, that our choices have consequences that reverberate throughout creation. In a world consumed by darkness, Noah stood apart. Genesis 6:8 tells us that Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, a testament to his unwavering faith and righteous conduct. Noah wasn't perfect, but his heart yearned for something more, a deeper connection with the divine. His obedience to God's commands, even when they seemed illogical or impossible, set him apart as a beacon of hope in a world spiraling towards destruction. Noah's story reminds us that even in the darkest of times, even when surrounded by wickedness, it's possible to live a life pleasing to God. The flood narrative takes an intriguing turn when we consider the fate of those who perished. 1 Peter 3, verses 19-20, speaks of Jesus preaching to the spirits in prison, those who were disobedient in the days of Noah. This passage suggests that even in death, there's an opportunity for redemption, a chance for those who rejected God's message during their lifetime to hear it anew. This act of grace transcends time and space, demonstrating the boundless nature of God's love and the possibility of redemption even beyond the grave. The story of the flood holds a mirror to our own times, revealing uncomfortable truths about human nature. Luke 17:26 warns us that as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Just as the people in Noah's day were consumed by their own desires, oblivious to the impending doom, we too can become so caught up in the pursuit of worldly possessions and fleeting pleasures that we lose sight of what truly matters. This warning from Jesus serves as a wake-up call, urging us to examine our own lives and prioritize what is truly important, our relationship with God and our fellow human beings. Noah's righteousness wasn't a passive quality, it was an active pursuit, a conscious choice to live a life aligned with God's will. Genesis 6:9 describes Noah as a just man and perfect in his generations, a testament to his unwavering commitment to righteousness. But what does it truly mean to be righteous? It's not about achieving some unattainable standard of perfection, but about striving to live a life of integrity, compassion, and obedience to God. Noah's life embodied these virtues. Noah's life serves as a blueprint for righteous living, a reminder that true faith is not merely a set of beliefs but a way of life. The wickedness of the pre-flood generation wasn't a matter of petty squabbles or minor transgressions. It was a pervasive corruption that infected every aspect of society. Genesis 6:5 paints a bleak picture of humanity's state. And God saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Violence ran rampant, fueled by greed, envy, and a blatant disregard for human life. This descent into darkness serves as a stark reminder of the destructive nature of sin and its ability to poison even the purest of intentions. The flood, while a testament to God's judgment, also reveals the limits of divine patience. Genesis 6:3 tells us that my spirit shall not always strive with man, suggesting that even God in his infinite mercy has a breaking point. For centuries, God had borne witness to humanity's rebellion, their persistent disregard for his laws, and their callous indifference to the suffering they inflicted upon each other. The flood serves as a stark reminder that our actions have consequences, that there's a limit to how much God can endure before intervening. The Nephilim, enigmatic giants born of divine beings and human women, played a role in the flood. Genesis 6:4 tells us there were giants in the earth in those days, when the sons of God came unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, mighty men of old, men of renown. The Nephilim, with their strength and stature, sowed discord, corrupting the human race. The flood swept away the wicked and the Nephilim, cleansing the earth of their influence. The flood narrative isn't just a story of divine wrath, it reveals a God who feels deeply, who experiences a range of emotions in response to human actions. Genesis 6:6 tells us that it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. The decision to cleanse the earth wasn't an act of blind rage, but a heart-wrenching choice born out of love and a desire for a fresh start. This emotional response challenges the notion of a stoic, unfeeling God, revealing instead a God who loves, who grieves, and who yearns for a restored relationship with his creation. As the floodwaters receded and the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, a new chapter began, one marked by hope and the promise of a fresh start. Genesis 8:1 tells us that God remembered Noah, and God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. This covenant, symbolized by the rainbow, represented a promise that never again would the earth be destroyed by a flood. It was a sign of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, God's love and mercy would prevail. The story of the flood isn't just an ancient tale, it serves as a stark warning, a mirror reflecting the spiritual climate of our times. Luke 17:26 tells us that, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Jesus in his teachings drew a parallel between the materialism, spiritual apathy, and rampant wickedness of Noah's time with the signs that would precede his second coming. This comparison serves as a wake-up call, urging us to examine our own hearts, to prioritize our relationship with God, and to live lives characterized by righteousness and spiritual awareness. As we reflect on these divine insights, let us recognize the lessons they hold for our times. The story of the flood, though ancient, speaks with a startling relevance to the human condition. It reminds us of the consequences of unchecked wickedness, the ever-present potential for destruction when we turn away from the divine. Consider how these ancient truths apply to our lives today. Are we so caught up in the distractions of the modern world that we've lost sight of what truly matters?